Hello. How is everybody doing tonight? Hope you're all well. Had a good start to January. I'm doing really good at my New Year's resolution, except for on YouTube. My New Year's resolution was to try to be more productive, consistent. I'm not sure how to phrase it, but do the things that give me anxiety but I have to do them. And instead of like putting them off, I'm halfway succeeding, but I only said I would try. So I didn't lock myself into like, you must be consistent. So I feel like I'm winning because I got my oil change, which I've been needing to do for quite a while. I did a bunch of other errands and things like that I don't want to do. But yesterday, because I hate leaving the house so much, I decided I bought this color of paint to paint my daughter's room. And I don't know, I can't see purple apparently. So it's like bright purple. I was like, I thought it was like going to be like gray. So bought a whole gallon of it. Can't use it because it's hideous. And instead of just going to get a different paint, I decided that I was going to mix a bunch of paints together and create my own color. So I had like the whole kitchen was like my lab of like half cans and samples, and I'm like pretending like I'm at the salon doing hair with paint. And I spent all day, and I have a whole palette that I put on the wall. She hated every single one of them. And then Mr. Cold Truth was like, that's it. I'm going to buy paint, and whatever I come home with, that's what it is. So it is a shade of, I don't know, like cigarette white, but whatever. She likes it. He likes it. I think it looks like a smoker's wall, but whatever. Hey, Frank Masta, how are you doing, sir? Hello, Faye. Hope you're well. Gray Pill, what's up? I feel so every Tuesday, like Tuesdays are my clean the house, do the laundry day. And so like sometimes by the end of it, I'm just like, I cannot get ready. I know I could join with just my little blinky little thing, but it feels like weird. But I always love your topic. So don't stop asking me. I'm just like trying to get it together over here. You know, once I have a room that's like not anything else, you know, which is in the process of happening right now. We got to get the rooms painted and carpet laid. And then I'll have my own room that I don't have to move anything. I don't have to work around anyone else's schedule. It'll just be a lot easier. It'll be all set up. That way I don't have to do, it's so much work. By the time I get ready to do an episode, I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to, and then I don't want to do that to the victims, you know, that I'm covering. Like they deserve my full energy and wantingness. And so then I feel a bit guilty. So it's like a never ending circle of self-flagellation or whatever that word is. I think that might be, I don't think that's the word. What's the word? Yeah. Flagellate. I don't know. I might have just said you farted or something, but whatever. Hey, Lake. Hey, Jerry. Hey, Cher. And I can't think of a smaller word. Of course. I get these Webster every day. I get a word of the day. I love it. And then I'm like, how do I say? My kids are always like, what is that? I don't know what you mean, Mom. And I'm like, well, trying to think of a simpler way to say things. And you almost get lost in my word of the days because I don't know a simpler word. I don't know what's a different word. Then I end up with this long explanation. But my daughter on the way I had to go get her from her college, drive all the way to Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, which is like 20 minutes from home, and then drive her all the way back because she had a 12 o'clock class. and then drive myself all the way back home and then go to work. That was a really fun Thursday. And it would have been a lot shorter, except for I got on 465 South somehow instead of 465 West. So I ended up just taking the whole circle, you know. It was like, get off on 70. I'm like, 70? What? Where is that at? Well, that's not on this side of town. So I ended up having to, and then I got off on a wrong road. So I ended up downtown on the one ways, trying to weave my way back to 70. I'm like, this is ridiculous. My Google lady hates me, except for turn left on Peck Road, turn left on Peck Road. Like, we heard that like 4 times in a row. I'm like, really? It's a left turn with all stop signs. I think I can handle that. You don't need to tell me 5 times. But for this big, complicated, like, merge right, then immediately merge left, and then merge right again, you know, to get on the freaking interstate. She just barely didn't tell me enough that I even registered as a thing. So frustrated. So I spent most of the day driving way far out of my way, which I remember when I was younger, I did that once. I was like, oh, 465 is a circle. I'll end up back home. Oh no. I unplugged my camera. Unplugged myself. Hold on. Am I back? I don't know what happened. There. I was like playing with the cord and ripped it out. But yeah, it's a long 465 is really big. So don't ever just think you'll get back around eventually. Oh my Lord. To be 18 again. Okay, so hey Julianne, good to see you. Hey Marbles. Nice to see you all. Listening with eyes closed. All right. Well, whatever floats your boat. I am a little disheveled today. We lost our power this morning for like, I don't know, 4:30 in the morning till 9:30. It was freezing. Yeah, we had nothing. So that was, I don't know. There was a little pocket in Brownsburg that there was like 34 houses, apparently. I don't know. We were one of them. So yeah, it was like very cold. Very cold. My brother got me this big, I look like a wizard. It's like wool lined and velvet on the outside. It's got a hood and pockets, and it goes all the way to the floor. It's like a blanket robe. Saved me this morning. Hey, Boston. Okay. Sounds good. I'm just kind of catching up, but I don't want to catch up too long because then I go too long. So I hope everyone is doing good. And tonight we're going to try to get through a little bit more. Like I said, I have, after this thumbnail is finished, there's still 1.5 more of cases to catch up on. So, went in for 4 a.m. Oh yeah, it was so cold. So I just put that on, put the hood up, and then had 2 blankets on me. I don't know how. And then I have a face mask. So it was like in my little cocoon, but I just slept through it. But then I decided to go outdoor shopping today with my daughter. I'm like, what are we doing? It's freezing out. Like my car was literally frozen shut. So a little disheveled, but, all right. So tonight we start with the Goodhue, babies, and then, we'll end up with, I hope I'm saying it right, Iriana DeJesus. And we'll see how time goes. I may do a part 4 a little bit later on tonight because I'm going to be out of town all week next week. I'm going to Colorado, which I guess it's very cold there right now, but it's supposed to warm up a bit. So, but yeah, hang out with my sister and my nephew and help her with her new house. She's doing some wallpaper, and her husband's out of town on a business trip. So we'll get to do some fun things. We're going to go to the National Nature and Science Museum. I'm so pumped. I can't wait. I love those, but it's like geared more towards kids. Like the planetarium, I guess, is like, I was so pumped there was a planetarium, but it's Sesame Street. I'm like, I guess there's another one. We're going to try it and see how the little toddler does. But I love those types of museums. They're so fun. I always forget that we have some pretty cool museums here in Indiana. History, some history museum, obviously the children's museum, the Idle Georgia Museum. Yeah, but okay. Hi, Professor Pug. Good to see you here. Glad you're here. Okay, so let's get started. How about it? Did I shut up? Okay. I'm going to get my phone up. Oh, look at that. Did you know what is happening? Oh, did you guys know? Why does it say I'm offline? What's going on? Am I not working? Am I here? Anyone? What happened? Oh my gosh, I'm on the wrong one. There we go. I always go through my setting. I put on low power mode because we didn't have power for all morning. And I always go to my settings, gotta type that in because I don't know where that little tab is, and then find battery and then hit it. Did you know that it's like literally right here? Screen? I didn't know that. That is awesome. So I can just turn it off right there. I know how to screen record from there real well. But hey, rescue all the dogs. Good to see you here. Oh, no problem. You're here. So that's good. Glad to have you. Okay. So we're going to start with, here's the thumbnail. So we will be going from the Goodhue County Does to Iriana DeJesus. So yeah, we got to scroll all the way down here through my research to get to where we left off last time. Close your eyes, it might make you dizzy. Okay, so this case has been solved. It's in the adjudication process for the mother, Jennifer Matter. This one was kind of wild. So y'all know how I am with NamUs. Like NamUs has been my place for way before even Facebook groups and YouTube and any of this, but trying to match up missing with the unidentified. So UPs with NPs on NamUs. And these little babies, whenever you see a baby doe, it just kind of like hurts your heart a little. It kind of stings to even look at the pictures, So these little baby does in Goodhue County were kind of a, you look at them, it's like, oh my gosh, like who does that kind of a thing? Well, this lady does. This lady right here does. I covered this a while back, but just to recap, it was in 1999, and she said, so they find these two, at separate times. They find these babies that have just been left in, I think it was water, like near, Yeah, child on the beach. So she gets pregnant like 2 separate times, and she does this like 2 times. Okay. So in 1999, she said that the baby was born blue and not crying. And then she later took the baby to Bay Point Park in the middle of the night and put her in the water near the boathouses and walked away. That was in 1999. And then in 2003, as far as the arrest warrant affidavit, it said that she gave birth to the second child on a beach in Frontenac and wrapped the baby up in a towel and a blanket and left the child on the beach before driving away. The complaint said that she, quote, she did not call 911, but hoped that someone in the nearby house would find the baby. And of course, the babies died. That's where we're at right there. But she was recently sentenced. So I covered this a while back. But on October 28th of 2023, she was sentenced. The interview, the interrogation interview, you can find it on YouTube. It's just super, it's bizarre is all I'll say. So this is in Minnesota, Red Wing, Minnesota. That's not going to work out. A Red Wing woman was sentenced Friday to a guilty plea to 1 count of murder in the 2nd degree after attempting to leaving her newborn to die by the Mississippi River in 2003. So she took a plea of guilty, which is good because you can't appeal your own guilty plea. She can appeal her sentence, but that's kind of a different bag of burritos, which is just, I am a proponent for guilty pleas. I will tell you that. I used to not be at all. But after being in this true crime genre for 6-7 years now, definitely. So 2nd degree murder is like that she didn't do it with malice, aforethought, or intentional. Like it was at least in Indiana, we don't have 2nd degree murder. We have murder, which is intentional. Like you intended to, with malice and aforethought, intended to murder another human. And then 2nd degree in Indiana would be like your involuntary manslaughter. So it's kind of a step down to where maybe you didn't pre-plan it, or like you didn't intend. It was more not a heat of the moment, but like at some point it's lacking the malice and like intentional premeditated part. But obviously the babies must have been born alive, right? I guess that could be a whole nother social moral conversation to be had, but I don't know. It's bizarre to me how it's like 2nd degree murder. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I don't want to get into a political conversation right now. According to Goodhue County Attorney's Office, 51-year-old Jennifer Lynn Matter received a presumptive sentence under the Minnesota sentencing guidelines of 326 months commitment to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections, which is just over 27 years. Matter admitted to giving birth on Methodist Beach in 2003 and leaving the baby with the intention of not coming back to get him. Prosecutors said DNA evidence also links Matter to a baby girl found by the Mississippi 4 years earlier, but no charges have been filed. Matter was identified in May of 2022 through DNA as the mother of both babies. The Minnesota BCA said advancements in technology led to the advancements in the investigation of the deaths of the two babies, which had gone unsolved for decades. The sentencing happened in Goodhue County District Court in Red Wing. So yeah, kind of bizarre. I don't know when I listened to her interrogation and just like the earlier episode that I did, so I have all that research in my head. I don't know. I feel like this woman lacked the I feel like it was, I know she did it twice, so obviously it's like, whoa, there's 2 times here, but if you think about it, she has not been charged with the other one. So other than us knowing about that, like if she were to go to jury, they wouldn't be able to bring that up unless she was going to be charged with both. So I don't know. It seemed like some mental illness and not like a evil, like intended, I don't know. I kind of felt bad for her, I guess you should say. And I think about with the flippancy at which I hear clients or younger like associates of my children, having abortions, just kind of like, I don't know, despair, being in a desperate situation can lead to kind of thinking out of your mind. But obviously on that second one, I do have to say, like to drive to a place to have a baby, so that you would not get caught that you have a baby, and then leaving that baby there is really, really disgusting. Okay, we're going to move on. All right, so up next is Carla Adkins, 14, and Vickie Stout, 14. These were half sisters, and it is still unsolved. This is the Dover, Tennessee. And I've been planning it for a while. I've actually picked out a Airbnb, and it's it's just outside of Dover, kind of closer to the more, I would say, like land between the lakes. It's like a little bit closer, but it's literally right where their bodies were found, and go and just kind of see the area and take some video and footage. This case has been one that just like, oh, and I got really close with Murder Out Land Between the Lakes during that time too, because they cover Vickie and Carla. Vickie and Carla are they're Shannon Paul for me, and so we came together for a Prattville Dover crossover episode because this is not something that I'm saying that they said. I'm saying it myself because I have my own sources on this information as well that is not related to like necessarily the family or Malibu, Courtney and her co-hosts. But one of the suspects that is a pretty viable suspect for Vickie and Carla moved to Prattville, Alabama, and was living there when Shannon disappeared and was consequently found murdered, taken from one place in the middle of the day to a secondary, so you've got your initial crime scene, then your secondary crime scene, and then the dump site, for lack of a better word. And that was kind of, I think, with Carla and Vickie, and then you're just like, what are the chances of like all these? There was just quite a few, and this particular fella was the FBI agent's, or maybe it was state police's son. And there's just like a lot of weird things going on. And then he literally lives within like I would say maybe 3 to 5 minutes at that time of Candlestick, but his friends lived in Candlestick, the ones that moved here at the same time as him, and he was known to the neighborhood. So it's just kind of one of those things of you kind of gotta wonder. And then when Sherry Jackson with CBS 42 did her episode here recently on Shannon Polk, it stated that investigators in the Shannon case had gone out of state. Wow, that could be more than likely. I know that it's been looked at with the case that she covered, the two girls with Heaven Lachey Ross and Shannon Polk, and then there's other ones, Tabitha Tutors, Teresa Dean, a few others that I covered. There's even another one in Georgia. Just all very mysterious, and you want to see a pattern when maybe there isn't a pattern there, but maybe they went to, that's not in another state though. So what state did they go to? And was it Tennessee by chance? Was it Tennessee or maybe Georgia? Maybe even California. I don't know. But anyway, so half sisters, Carla Sue Adkins, 14, and Vickie Lee Stout, 16. Sorry, I have their names wrong up here. Or there's birth, their how old they are. They went for a walk on September 17th of 1980 in Dover, Tennessee, which is called the Land Between the Lakes. It's a beautiful area. They walked the Highway 79 to the IGA and then to a small convenience store called the Furnace. On their way home, Carla and Vickie were seen talking to a male in a blue truck. The girls were considered runaways by law enforcement. Reporter Josh Breslow interviewed their sister Trisha Gordon, who said, "I never knew them to disappear before. They wouldn't do that. They had no reason to disappear." On October 5th, 1980, Carla and Vickie's bodies were found by hikers just miles from their home in a wooded area. They were partially covered and not far from each other, both receiving gunshot wounds to the head. 43 years has gone by with no answers as to who murdered them. Trisha Gordon, their sister, told Josh, quote, "What was the purpose? Why? Why these two?" The episode I originally did for this case was a collaboration with the podcasters Amelia and Lainey from Murder at Land Between the Lakes, who are still determined to find those answers. And like myself, they understand the importance of sharing Carla and Vickie's story. By spreading their stories, we hope that investigating agencies get the support and the funds needed to run the DNA, the investigative genetic genealogy. And the fund should never be a reason that a murderer is free. It just really shouldn't. And that's why I was so flabbergasted with with Shannon's case of Gray Hughes Investigates was going to pay for it in its entirety, like no cost to the county in Autauga County. So it's just kind of weird of why that would not be used. But anyway, so from another article that was on May 10th of 2023 by Amanda Chin, it's Fox 17. And I just put a quote I wanted to read. So 4 years later, Crouch said they have about 3 or 4 people that they are highly interested in and narrowed down to a pool of suspects. That same year, Crouch traveled to Florida to bring evidence to a special DNA lab. Gordon says the DNA test did yield some findings, but was not told about specifics. But the evidence being tested at that private lab in Florida has temporarily stopped. Gordon says the evidence is still in the process of being tested, but it's very expensive. But remains optimistic her sister's killer will be found. So that's kind of weird. Can you hear the whole conversation? He's got like these cell phones. I don't know where he gets them, but they're for like deaf people. But yeah, it's like his friend is in our living room and he's not at all. I'm gonna check this. So there was 3 weeks that went by between when they were abducted off of the side of the road and when their bodies were found. And it has been ruled murder because of the 3-week period that passed before deputies discovered the girl's body. It's wondered if there's missing evidence at the crime scene. We did find shotgun shells, and we did find her flip-flops, and it was my belief that she was running, literally ran out of her shoes. It's so sad, to get away, says Jerry Kitchen, one of the crime scene investigators at the time. Kitchen also found this piece of evidence, which has been submitted to the TBI, so Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. I found a light blue stain off of a tree where it appeared at the height that it was a truck. So paint, trying to match the paint. The autopsy revealed a shotgun killed the girls, but the bodies were too decomposed to reveal if they'd been sexually assaulted. An artist sketch was with age progression shows the man described by the witnesses seen driving that blue pickup truck when the girls were last seen. Do you think that who did this was the same person in the blue pickup truck that day that the girls were seen with? Asked Chin. And Gordon says, I do. The TBI agent heading the investigation at the time, Jack Charlton, believed the sketch could be the girl's abductor, murderer, or witness. Yeah. Go look. They're in the link in this description of this video. Go listen to Murder at Land Between the Lakes podcast series on Carla and Vickie. It gets real interesting, especially with old Jackaroo there. I'm like, well, this won't take any time at all. They're going to find who did this, wrap it up, and it's done with. And then it continued to drag on and on. Yeah, there's a lot of weird things in this one. There was a point where we just kind of like gave up. That's terrible. I guess he's honest. In 2011, more efforts began again in this case when Stewart County Sheriff Derek Wyatt came on board. And in 2015, District Attorney Ray Crouch asked the FBI to help in this case and says they are still involved to this day. The following year, DA Crouch says he eliminated some false information and leads. So that's always good. It's very frustrating and scary because you don't know who did it and you don't know why. So you got to wonder about the rest of your family, says Gordon. 4 years later, Crouch said they have, that's Tricia Gordon. That's the sister. I thought it was the investigator. I'm sorry. I forgot that's her sister's last name. Traveled to Florida to bring evidence to a special DNA lab. Gordon says the DNA test did yield some findings, but was not told about specifics. So the sister was not told about specifics. That's where I was like, Gordon, wait. But the evidence being tested at the private lab in Florida has temporarily stopped. If you hear this, I think it's Tricia, right? Yeah, Tricia. Reach out to me. I mean, if it's a funding thing, I have no problem. I don't have a lot of money to give right now, but you can definitely share and put it out there for you guys. If it's a funding issue, the evidence is still in the process of being tested, but it's very expensive. but she remains optimistic her sister's killer will be found. Gordon thinks a podcast started by Amelia, Courtney, and Lainey called Murder at Land Between the Lakes for bringing more attention to this case. I've dedicated the last 3 years of my life to being a voice for them. We've done everything we can to make sure it is heard, and they really have. They really have. So yeah, their podcast is wonderful. And, you know, they're just like, when we recorded we were all very new to this. Even when we did our episode together, like we're literally recording our conversation on our cell phones in like the voice recorder. Like I think they might have had like some kind of an app, like a podcasting platform app, but like just trying to edit and like stuff like that. I didn't even have that. And I think I ended up putting it in Audacity, but I think they, you know, when they first started, I don't know, as far as like, I think season 3 is a little different, but when they first started, I mean, they're just 2 girls with huge hearts and that like compassion and drive to try to really make a difference. They've done vigils and gone, and I mean, just everything that they possibly could. And it is just, they're a breath of fresh air, you know, in a world where a real crime creators and podcasters are just can really get you down about the state of humanity, and then like you just humans in general, when you come across people like Amelia and Lainey, you know, like you really like, they get it. They get it. They're just the sweetest. I still get texts occasionally from Amelia of just like, you know, information. You know, but this podcast is really, really good. I don't know how you like turn it around too, but they're on Spotify, but they're also on pretty much all of the platforms. You know, just very good. They're not long, so, but just packed full. And this one was a really good. I don't know if you guys know Brandon Barnett, like, he has that podcast. What's it called? See if it pops up in here. Searching for Ghosts. Oh, that podcast is phenomenal. His voice is phenomenal. But he's the one where in the case where literally like just how they went to Tennessee and how I went to Alabama. He's doing that same thing while he's recording his series. He goes to the house where I think it was the Casey. Casey McDaniel case and I think that's the one. He's done quite a few, but he is, you know, going to the town. He's traveling there, you know, you're kind of getting that like live, like play by play. And they driving by to get some footage and to, you know, to see the house where she lived, and just like, I'm gonna go to the door and like knock on it. Well, it was being, I think someone else owned it, but it was original. Like everything was original, you know, they like the walls and things like that hadn't been changed. And so they said, you know, he asked and they said, yeah, come on in. He goes, so you're hearing this in the episode. It's just really, it's a really good episode. The whole series, Searching for Ghosts, is brilliant. And he sees something on the wall that he's like, this kind of looks like blood spatter, you know, and somebody's trying to wash it off, and it's clearly not really, they didn't do a very good job. And he ended up being right. You know, I can imagine being as soon as you're just like this podcaster, like, hey, let's call the police and have them come to your house and like, let's see. And then to be like, hi, 911, like, I think I found some blood, you know, in this, because the case is in 1996, you know, so fascinating. But it ended up being right, and I'm pretty sure it led to adjudication in the case, because then they, you know, knew she was, if I'm remembering it correctly, like they knew that she was murdered in that home. Really interesting stuff. So, along with their episodes, of course. So they're on Spotify as well, and then they have a Facebook group, and then anyone with information on the case, or the man pictured in the composite sketch. I have a picture of that. Hold on. Is urged to contact TBI. I don't know if I can show it, because I think I put someone else's picture on it. So let's see if we can find it in the article. You guys hear me okay? Hi, Jill. Hey, Freckle Joy. Good to see you guys. Thank you for being here. Yeah, these are the age progressed sketches. Kind of wild. Of course, when you click on it, you can't see it. But yeah, this first one, you're just kind of like, clearly and over with the description, like you're like, wow, like there's just a little bit of shading issues going on there. But this one right here is pretty, it's pretty wild how much it looks like the person of interest that lives in Prattville, Alabama, still to this day. It's pretty wild. And I think this is, yeah, there's Amelia and Lainey, and then the family of Carla and Vickie at one of the vigils that they had for her. All right. So in the description, please go and, listen to their episodes, join their Facebook group. And if you have a tip for the Carla and Vickie murder case, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND with any information. And this is Mary Jones and Misty Holt are, obviously I covered these in the same episode. So this is another night, and it's solved, and it's been adjudicated, and he was just recently denied parole again. Thank God. Like, feel so bad for Miss Mitzi, and because she survived, like against all odds. Miss Mitzi Jones survived, and Mary Jones, or Misty, I'm saying that wrong. I'm like, Mitzi Holt survived against all odds, and then her friend Mary Jones lost her life to this sick, sadistic, horrible Randy May. And what the families have had to endure, and the victim that happened to survive, you know, like he didn't intend for her to survive. Know that. But throughout it's just, these are cases why, like, I would rather have a guilty plea than a jury trial, because the appeals process, and then once you get through all of that, then you've got the parole. So that's where this case is at, and it's just been horrible. You'll see here in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself per usual. So these were two, young girls. They're walking They were walking along a road in Morristown, Tennessee. So there's a similarity there. Kind of like with Delphi, Abby and Libby. When Randy May, he pulled up beside them and he pretended to be a police officer looking for a runaway, naming one of their, so he actually named like, hey, I'm looking for, and they were friends with that person. So they're like, that got them off their guard. And they hopped in his vehicle and he drove them to a secluded area where he attacked Mitzi first. He handcuffed her to a tree. He stabbed her and he cut her throat before moving on to Mary. He brutally raped Mary before he stabbed her. He then returned to Mitzi, attacking her again before fleeing. Mitzi, against all odds, freed herself from the tree, injuring her wrists, like really severely, injuring her wrists and hands, and made her way to the nearest house, which I showed this on Google Earth on that episode. You know, like just she's the will to live, you know, and the grace of God. So she could, she went there and they helped her to call police. Mitzi later ID'd Randy May as her attacker and the man who murdered her friend. In an interview with Mona Nair, Mitzi said, he brutally raped and murdered her. He brutally tried to rape me if I hadn't fought with everything in me. He sliced my throat, stabbed me 3 times in my chest, and handcuffed me to a tree to die, she said in her statement, describing that attack all those years ago. Mary Jones' family talked about how 3 generations of their family had been scarred by the crime. So the fallout from murder is generational. It literally, from that point forward, there's the before murder life that you had that's gone, and the after murder life that is now your reality. It's a split, and it's really sad. And how dare anyone use words like grape? Sorry if you do it. I hate it. I don't listen to a lot of people anymore because they don't say the words. This is true crime. Mitzi says that she was raped, and she was raped. She wasn't graped or essayed. She was raped. Like, words mean something. And to take the words of a victim or the family of a victim and then soften them up for monetization or because other people are offended by that, I'm offended by that. That's what I have to say about that. I'm offended by that. And I don't give a fork. I'll say fork, but like, I'm not going to say, you will never find me on my channel saying graped or not say that someone killed themselves or committed suicide or they were murdered when that's what happened to them. Like, it's a sick, twisted world we're living in where you see words like TikTokers, you know, I am being hunted at college. I'm being hunted down because of the color of my skin or the, you know, your sexuality or whatever you think you're being hunted for. I highly doubt most people are that important to be hunted. But it's like, do you know what the word hunted means? Do you actually know what the word hunted means? Like, how about we put you out in a jungle and let someone actually hunt you, you spoiled brat, with your Starbucks, your Gucci bag, like your perfect manicured nails. Like, you don't know what it means to be hunted. So you see this like dramatization of words, you know, that like do not really fit the scenario. That's just one small example of what I'm talking about. Just go out there in the world of woke and you see it on a daily of like people using words that, if I always imagine like when someone says they're hunted, I immediately go to a scene in what's that movie? For some reason, this is the movie that pops in my head. the sniper guy, Swagger is his name, played by Mark Wahlberg. I go to the scene in that when he is like setting traps for him, like he's being hunted, but like he's like setting traps, and literally the forest is like his playground. Like I imagine being hunted, stalking a prey, like deer hunting, been plenty of deer hunting trips and what the word hunting actually means. But then you see this, oh, those words are offensive. Saying you're raped is offensive. So, let's say something a little softer. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're in this upside down, backwards world, and I refuse to live in it. I refuse to live in it. So, if my channel's gone sometime, that's probably why. I'm just not going to do it. Sorry. It's just when you read something like this and you're reading it in quotes and you know that it's going to affect the algorithm and it's going to affect the monetization and all that stuff, that affords me the ability to go live and to do the research and make this something that makes sense of like, if I can, at least cover the cost and a little bit of my time, I can continue to justify putting so much of my time and energy into the research that it takes to do these episodes and the time. But so it's like frustrating. I do the YouTube. I love YouTube, and I like, whenever there's a survey, I take those surveys as a creator. And that's when it says, other, and I put that in there in every part of like, I think the I get it for a craft channel. I get it that people wouldn't want to see I wouldn't want their ads to be played. Like they would be fine for everything else, but maybe have a box that they can uncheck for the true crime genre so that we can continue to use the actual proper words for what we're discussing instead of being dismissive towards victims and their families. I think it would be something that they can opt in or opt out. And, it's a good way to fix that issue with the words. But where do we leave off here? He brutally tried to rape me if I hadn't fought with everything in me. He sliced my throat, stabbed me 3 times in my chest, and handcuffed me to a tree to die, she said in her statement, describing that attack all those years ago. Mary Jones' family talked about how 3 generations of their family have been scarred by the crime. May first came up for parole in 2002. There were hearings in 2005. So more parole hearings in 2002, 2005, 2011, and quite a few others. He was denied all those times. At this hearing, he did something new. May apologized. He said, "I am sorry for what I did. There's no excuse for what I did. These women," that's the part where I was like, Buster, these were children that you did this. These were not grown women. Like these were teenagers. They did absolutely nothing to me, May said. He apologized today to the families for the very first time. I was appalled, actually. I know that God says to forgive, and I want to so bad. There should be 2 O's, I think there, but this is a quote. So, but if you've seen the pictures of what he did to my friend, and if you had to live with what I had to live with all of these years, it's a really hard thing to forgive somebody for. Mitzi told Mona Nair. Yeah. So here's the parole hearing. So you got 2005 or 2002, 2005, 2010, 2016, 2017, 2019, 2023, and another one is set for 2027. This man should never, ever, ever get out. I'm telling y'all, like, this was a brutal, disturbed human that did this. I can't remember which one of these I wanted to look at. Hey, Carol, how are you? Randy Lee May. Oof. Gosh. If you ever do a deep dive, this one is a really good one. I originally, when I originally started looking into this case, it was because of the Delphi case. It was before the arrest of Richard Allen. And to me, there was so many like similarities that I could see happening, and then with, not that it was the same, killer or anything, but it was just trying to understand the mind of a person like this. Like, I would love to hear Randy Lee Mays if he were to do like interviews with someone like Dr. Carlisle or Dr. Verkada or Ann Burgess or all of the greats. I would love to hear one done on this guy of like understanding the mind of this guy right here. I haven't found one. There's some interview, like, I don't know if even the interrogation are in their entirety anywhere available, but yeah, it was a very violent, very uh, I felt like a stalking, like prey, like literally, then just the way that everything was carried out. Like, it's a really good one to do a deep dive on, of just kind of understanding that the violent mind, um, I'm trying to find where there was one that had him. Sometimes you can see him in the thumbnail and then like, but then they don't like show up in the article. But that's Mitzi now. It's so sad. Yeah, who cares? Who needs to see him anyway? He's just great. Like, it's just a sick dude. And then we come to these two, how I say about Garrett Kurtz and Ashley Garth. When certain personality couples find each other in this world, it's like, I relate it to pulsar stars. If you know what pulsar stars are, when stars are dying, well, their stars are in their definition like dying, but like when they get into, I'm going to probably say it wrong, in each other's orbits in space, it creates this literal figure eight of like energy, like magnetic, like energy force field. And it's like, it looks like a literal figure eight until eventually they collide and they literally create a chasm, or so to say, a black hole in space, because of the magnitude of when these two things finally collide. And that's how I feel about Ashley Garth and Garrett Kurtz, and that's how I feel about old Ben and Erica Seifritz. I covered this one quite a while back, but Ben was a Navy SEAL, and I had heard some of his buddies in his SEAL team were talking about it on their podcasts. Like, they're on YouTube, and we listen to their podcast, just some Navy SEALs. And they were talking about this Ben guy that they were in butts with. And like, how he ended up being burying someone and going on like a freaking killing spree. And so then I was like, oh, well, look into this. And then it was like, wow, like this is what I'm talking about, like with Garrett Kurtz and Ashley Garth, it's kind of that same thing. But the victims here were Joshua Ford, he was 32, and Martha Crutchley, she was 51. So it's been solved. Parole hearing dates for Ben and Erica. I think Benjamin, he has a release date, and it's coming. It's a fastly approaching. I think it's in 2027. Erica, she didn't fare so well. But this is the thing, like when you as a defendant in the United States of America, you have a right to a trial, a jury of your peers. You can take a plea, and sometimes the judge will be like, yeah, no, like that plea's not acceptable. And the prosecutor and the defense can decide to negotiate and then see if that plea is acceptable to the judge. But it's up to the judge. So is sentencing. Like, there are guidelines and most judges follow them, but it is in the eyes of the law, the judge, and so Ben took a deal and Erica went to trial, and it didn't turn out so well, and that is the gamble that you take. But on May 25th of 2002, this was Memorial Day weekend, Benjamin, who was called BJ, a former Navy SEAL, and his wife, Erica Seifert, were staying at the Rainbow Condominium Resort in, is that Maryland? Yeah, geez. Oh my gosh. They met Josh and Martha and two others on a bus on their way to Secrets nightclub. They did not have change, so they offered to buy the couple drinks for the bus fare. The Seiferts lured them to their condo, and like they premeditated this, like they knew what they were going to do before they left their resort that night, and to hang out. And as a part of the ruse, Erica accused them. So when they get to their condo to hang out, and then again, this was pre-planned by BJ and Erica that she was going to do this ruse of saying they stole things from her, and and then he's gonna, then it's wild. So the two were shot, stabbed, and dismembered by the Seiferts on vacation. This was their vacation fun. Some of their remains of Martha and Josh have never been found. They were in a landfill in Delaware. And just days after the murder, BJ and Erica posed for a picture. Wait for this one. Erica is believed to be wearing Joshua's ring on her necklace, which was identified in trial by his relatives. And then she got a tattoo, and you can see it in this picture, on the spot where she stabbed Martha. Like, that's just like 6 days later, they were caught attempting to rob Hooters. Like, she was like a Hooters memorabilia, like connoisseur or whatever. Yeah, just kind of more of like I kind of like her and Ashley Garth. I think like they remind me of each other for some reason, just kind of like a manipulative, aloof, kind of a little bit sadistic, but live their life very entitled, like how dare you think I type attitudes. And but yeah, so they were trying to rob a Hooters. I mean, they literally, this is a picture of Martha and John. They took this picture of them and like went and got them developed, and they had a whole little list and just of what they were going to do. And this is them afterwards. And according to BJ and the tattoo artist, this tattoo that you can see right here. So this would be, to me, this is a prime example of trophies, but the This picture is obviously a little fuzzy, but there's a ring on her neck. And don't they just look like a normal couple that you would be like, if you're a young couple on a vacation, like I would be like, yeah, let's hang out. I've done that many times on vacations, meeting strangers and from all over the world. Like that's fun. That's giving you culture and experience. And, I like doing that when I go places on my own. Like I've traveled by myself and I meet people like, I wouldn't think twice, looks can be deceiving, folks. Very deceiving. So BJ was convicted of second-degree murder of Martha Crutchley and acquitted of killing Joshua Ford by a jury. Oh, okay. Well, he was given a 38-year sentence. He was denied parole in April of 2022. He will be eligible to apply in April of 2024. Oh, so literally in 2 months. But his mandatory, I don't think that he's applied though for that. I'm not sure, but I don't think he even applied. His mandatory release date is in 2030, but with time served and good behavior, he could be released sooner. Because I'm assuming I think this in Maryland, like I know that they put some of the remains in Delaware, but I think like the coast there was where this resort was that they were staying. Those were they were held accountable. But Erica, she was found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Ford and second-degree murder in the death of Crutchley, and was sentenced to life in prison plus 20 years. She is eligible for parole in 2024, and I hope that she never gets out. Yeah, I did a deep dive on these, so it's like really hard for me not to just like do it all over again, where I'm really trying to just do the updated things that have any news that is new and not what I've already covered. But that's like super hard for me. But this was the article, a really good article. OC Today. These were the pictures in there. This was them when they were arrested for robbery. It looks like armed robbery as well. Like that's a gun holster, right? Or maybe it's just a backpack. I don't know. I thought it was a gun holster at first. I don't know how anyone wears those. I've tried one on and I was like, I feel like I am literally being tied up. I could not handle it. But there she is. So some of these items that were in the car, like they were literally the victims, just no real, like, again, took a picture of the couple and printed it off. Can't remember what this one was. Bullets are pictured on a glass table inside the Uptown penthouse where BJ and Erica Seifert were staying Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. So just keeping those souvenirs, and a tattoo and a ring. See if that one's any clearer. Not really. But yeah, so again, she is up for parole in what was it? That was this year. And he is up for parole this year as well, but he will be released in 2030. He's a very cold, very cold. Both of them were obviously cold-blooded, but it's crazy how everything played out. I would love to have watched like those two jury trials, because the way they ended up being held accountable was just kind of like, wow. I mean, yes, there was that, like Erica was, and they were able to prove that. And that's why you see the difference. Like she was the driving force behind this. This was something that like she really, wanted. I mean, he did too, but it was like, I think, was it through the, like through, can't remember what, but if it was like writing or online somehow, I don't remember, but pretty crazy of the way, like, I feel like they both should be given the exact same sentence and guilty, at jury, at like to acquit him. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. It doesn't, like, when you're you're in a couple, like, okay, imagine this going down. Like, think about that. Like, these two literally, they really planned this out. They knew what they were going to use as a ruse. They knew that they were going to try to lure a couple back. Kind of like what they did with Nicole Bowen. And then they set out to murder this couple as a couple, as a unit, as one. Like, they both intended, so that's malice, that's premeditation, and then the aforethought to dismember the two bodies and get rid of them. What does it matter who actually did the act? That's my thing. Of like in the state of Indiana, like if like the case with what's her name? Her name kept coming up in Flora and Delphi. Jennifer Dean. They set a guy up, her and her boyfriend, and like little sister or some other younger girl. And then they went there and he died. So they were both charged with murder while in the act of committing robbery. And that's how she was charged. It's like, but to acquit someone because they weren't the actual one that took the life in that, you know what I'm saying? I find that to be so odd. It doesn't matter to me. Like, if you are both there, you're both actively, like with Nicole Bowen, they're both present in this room. They are both getting items. You can hear that, Ashley goes and gets tape from Jasmine. It comes back in the room. Ashley, by her own testimony, says she's in the room, even though she's lying. Garrett's lying. They're all lying, of course. But like, they're in a fight, and then Garrett takes over, and they're both like actively participating in the killing of Nicole Bowen. Garrett is the one that actually took her final breath, maybe. I don't know that was actually, I don't know that they were able to definitively prove other than asphyxia by strangulation, but was she dead when the bag was taped around her head, which was both of them, like, it's just crazy to me that, you would think that you are not guilty of murdering someone. And then like, you're either you murdered them. There's no accomplice situation. You're a murderer in Indiana anyway. And then we go from this charge to assisting a criminal where the criminal assisted committed murder, which it's a felony 5. Holding a Indiana guidelines is like 4 to 6 year prison sentence. So you can assist someone that kills another person with intention, premeditation, intention, and a malice aforethought. And you can assist them and be like, I don't understand the assisting a criminal unless it's like after the fact, but that's not the Indiana, like that's not the statute. That's not what the statute says. Like it doesn't say after they've committed murder, you help them. It doesn't say that in there. That's not like a prerequisite to this, even though like that's what Christopher Mathis did. I think that Ashley Garth, Talitha Beckley, Jasmine Parker, and Garrett Kirk should have all been charged with murder. 100%. Every single one of them. Not just Ashley and Garrett. And I think that BJ and Erica should have both been charged with first-degree murder, double murder for both of these victims because they intended it. They acted it out. They did it with lack of like just horrible. And then they covered it up. Like why, but that is the justice system. That's why I'm just glad that Roy took his own self out in the woods that day and got to suffer for 12 hours while they looked for his body. But we're going to move on to the last case of the night, and we are going to talk about Iriana. I'm not sure how to actually say that. I'm so sorry. DeJesus. It is solved. His name is, well, he has many names. Alexis Flores. He has been on and remains on the FBI most wanted fugitive from justice. This is a really bad dude, and he is just free. He has been indicted for the brutal murder and rape of Iriana DeJesus, born in 1995, and was 5 years old when she was brutally kidnapped, raped, and murdered by this evil man. So this happened she was kidnapped from outside of her own home on July 29th of 2000 while playing in her yard in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She was seen walking with a Hispanic male in his 30s by a neighbor around 8 p.m. Her body was found on August 3rd, 2000 in an empty apartment owned by George Contreras. Contreras told officers that he was letting a homeless boxcar drifter stay in that apartment. He knew him as Carlos or Carlo. He told Contreras that he was heading from Arizona to Chicago, Illinois, when he got off by accident in Pennsylvania. So I know it sounds like totally crazy, but like this all really did happen this way. You can watch my deeper dive episode if you look for it in my live videos. But Iriana had been raped and strangled. So later they ID'd her killer as Alexis Flores. He was 24 at the time, an illegal alien from Honduras. He was deported in 2005 on unrelated charges. His DNA, so this is a quote, DNA sample was taken in Arizona and later sent to Philadelphia in 2007 proved that Flores was indeed the killer. This was in the article by the Centurion, written by Catherine Palmer on April 25th of 2012. Proved that Flores was indeed the killer. So it's a small break, but still a break in the case. So he's been positively ID'd and he is on the run. No one knows where he is. Those are some dead eyes if I ever seen them, eh? But yes, this was the news. They recently upped the reward for this sicko to $250,000 for finding him. This is on America's Most Wanted. So this was written by Chris Coleman. So yeah, like on that deeper dive, really go into a lot of the details of just like Man, like just so many people, like you don't really know what you're looking at though. You see a man that looks to be the age of what you would have as a 5-year-old. Just like how many people saw this little girl and this man walking down the street and knew nothing. You know, it's just like, ugh, how do you think about like, it's not like this guy was like a real, you know, criminal mastermind. He deviant, yes, but like not not a freaking Kemper or something, you know, like not that. And it's just so sad. And then so like he flees. I'm assuming he went ahead and got the box car back to, you know, Arizona. But like when he was arrested in Arizona, like they found, I think it was like child pornography. Like it was unrelated to this kid. They didn't know anything about this, but like, yeah, it was pretty crazy, pretty wild of like, and then but they didn't know that he had murdered and raped a 5-year-old child at the time that he was arrested. You know, they found that out afterwards, and he's in the wind, you know. He probably knew they got my DNA now. They're going to link that back, you know, like, whew, yeah. It was just a really, really sad case. So she had been sexually assaulted, strangled, and wrapped in a trash bag. A t-shirt bearing a distinct political logo was found near Irina's body with her blood on it. When police questioned Contreras about the shirt, he recognized it as one of the articles of clothing he had lent to Carlos. So can you imagine what it was like for George Contreras? You know, like you're like, yeah, well, there's this like vagabond, like I let him live upstairs. He was like helping me out. Like I'm sure that because this was in 2000, I'm sure that they were able to do rule him out based on, you know, where DNA was at that time. But good Lord, I mean, can you imagine sitting here listening to this guy tell the story? Like, okay, yeah, okay, right, okay, George, you know, but it wasn't him. He didn't have anything to do with it, you know. It really was this boxcar rider you know, just transient that did this, and he was just trying to, you know, get some work done for free and give some homeless person a place to stay in the hot summer, you know. Oh, it makes you really regret trying to get cheap labor or help out someone. So yeah, 2 years later, he was arrested for shoplifting in Arizona. I knew it was something like not related to like deviancy of the mind, but um, then in 2004, police came to Flora's home after they received a noise complaint. After giving fraudulent identity documents to police, Flores was arrested for possession of a forgery device. So he could be anyone, anywhere. That's a felony in Arizona. When he was arrested, Flores had a welcoming demeanor, was friendly, and cooperated with the police during questioning because, you know, he knows what he's done 4 years ago. Upon entering his apartment for further investigation, officers noticed pornography spread out across the floors. Flores told immigration officials that he had lived in Schaumburg, Illinois, prior to living in Phoenix. He was incarcerated for 60 days and deported to Honduras in 2005. Oh, looks like Honduras took him back. Sure wish Dakota Kelly's dad would have been sent back to Nigeria because he'd still be alive today. He was an illegal alien as well. But his country said, we don't want him back. So apparently the law in America is that they can only hold him detained in the detention centers for a certain amount of time. And then they just have to release them. And then they have all the rights and whatever. That's insane to me. That's absolutely insane. No other country will you find that you can just go there, you know, just sneak on in and stay and then go get free everything. No, it's just not going to happen anywhere. Like it doesn't happen. It's just a crazy world. I don't know what else to say about it. Try not to be political, but like political aspects of a lot of these cases. But yeah, so these are some of the names that he has been known to use: Mario Flores, Mario Roberto Flores, Mario F. Roberto, Alex Contreras. How interesting is that? Alexis Contreras. Like I said, not, it's probably like, oh yeah, that guy that I live with, let's pick up his last name, the FBI described him as a Hispanic male, 5'4". So obviously, 5'4" is pretty short. He would, there's like a pun there, but I'm not going to be able to get the pun, but like, you could look down on him in a crowd and he would stick out because he's so short. 130 pounds with scars on his forehead. He's got some identifying marks on he's got a scar on his forehead and right cheek. His exact age is unknown, as he has used several birthdays, ranging from, 1975 to 1982. Flores has ties to Honduras, and he should be considered armed and dangerous. What to do? If you have any information on Flores' whereabouts, you are urged to contact the FBI Philadelphia field office at 215-418-4000. 215-418-4000. Again, there is a $250,000 reward for information that leads to the apprehension of this monster. So we have his poster. So this is a age progression that was done. So I think that's pretty spot on too. You think as you age, your face kind of starts to kind of droop a little bit, but of like, man, I guarantee you that man looks like that age. That's a damn good age progression if I'd ever seen one, yeah, I think that he's out there somewhere. He needs to be held accountable for what he did to this beautiful little girl that was very, very loved and is very, very missed. And it changed the lives of the whole entire community, and devastated the family and friends of this beautiful little girl. It's just so horrible. Just those everyday things that your kids playing on your porch, everyone in your neighborhood, you just cooking dinner, or, like normal thing, like to just for these short amount of times when like, it's like the universe just says, it just, like, if only like he had been sitting outside in that same area, and to see her outside alone, and like if she had been inside and eating dinner at a different time, or out playing without her, just like so many things that just, gosh, so sad. But he's kind of like a round to it type dude, at least he was back then. So like he's handyman type, probably could paint your house, put on a roof, drywall, trim, some small plumbing type projects, probably working independent, obviously, if he's still in the United States, which it's very likely that he is. It's a very high possibility. He came here as an illegal alien, and he can surely get back. Like, he obviously has the capability and the know-how to create false identities, similar to Anthony DeBaya, which was what he was arrested and not deported for. So yeah, Bolo, this guy, wherever you are, I wish there was a way to like tag people in Honduras. I don't necessarily know how to do that, but yeah, here's some of the side profile pictures of him, what he looked like then. Only thing I wish they would have done with the age progression is to give him like different options of hair and different states of gray, because in that epigenetic, like say Parabon, nanotech, like doing that panel on phenotyping panel for it's a most likely to look like, but on the one I did on myself, because I created my own phenotyping template in what's that, Live Wello, based on the DOJ's they had the S&Ps in a DOJ like article that I found that they use for figuring out what someone would look like, and it nailed me and my daughter. If I only had killer's DNA, so I could see what they look like, but I don't, so it was like a useless template to create. But anyway, because long hair, gray hair that's still this like just as short but more gray, which you see that there is in that phenotyping there is there is genetic code for how likely you are to be gray, and what gray to white, and the how early you are to go gray. There's like a higher likelihood in there, which they're pretty spot on. So to see him with different, I don't think he could grow a full beard, like at all. So that's probably about right on the facial hair. But like, do these, if you're already doing them, then put a few different styles of hair, because I guarantee you, if you saw this guy with long hair, like it will change the way he looks. It will change his face. But we just have that picture with the same hair. So again, this is alleged, but they got his DNA inside this little girl, like he did this. It's not a question. It's so sad. So, yep, that is our last one that we're going to get to tonight. So we have finished this thumbnail, and then we have this whole one to get to of all these cases that I've covered in the past. And then the last one that I covered was Rosemary. So we got quite a few. I have these pictures. I don't know why it does that. Like why they don't, whatever, it's a re-download them or something. But yeah, so I'll look back probably sometime late the week. Like I said, I'll be out of town. So all next week. So probably the week after we will start to get to these. I did see that Larry Crum, Amber Crum's dad, was on Ruckus Rocks. And there it said update. I wasn't able to listen to the whole thing, but I know that Larry is wanting to, he's got another trip planned, and there's I don't think it's necessarily a GoFundMe, but like a trying to help get donations for Larry to go to Texas again and find his little girl, like, gosh, I'll have to find a picture of my youngest daughter when she was that age. Maybe it's just the hair, but like, I can't imagine the sadness and the, just unsettled is too light of a word to use, of just there's no rest, at least like I know where my daughter is, and she's not just someone's secret anymore, because wherever Amber is, the person that put her there knows. So they've just been able to live in this decades and decades secret, like where they're the only one that knows where she is, and everyone else just has to like needle in a haystack. It's just so sad. Like, I contacted the mother and called her and left her a couple voicemails, and just trying to get her side of the stories. I said, and also called old Britt as well. And of course, I did not get any replies. And someone has been leaving comments in my live chats and on my YouTube that they are Amber Crumb. And as I said, this, this type of thing, like, I'm leery of that because that's, happened to Larry multiple times in the past. And so I'm very protective of that, of him. And it's happened with Shannon Cheryl's family as well. Someone claiming to be Shannon and going through this big old process and meeting. And there's a documentary I'm just watching on Tianda and Diamond, two little girls that were kidnapped. That's, they don't really know, but or really when they were last seen, but taken from an apartment. And someone, this is a documentary I'm watching, and like the last episode is like, someone is like, I think I'm, her, and it's like, well, looking like my daughter. If I showed you that picture of Amber next to my daughter at that same age, you would be like, holy crap, spit an image. So looking like, and not really, knowing your heritage, or not really liking your parents or whatever, and being suspicious of them that they stole you, that is like Hickams Dicum, and so I strongly suggest that you do that type of thing privately. It doesn't need to be online at all. So to respect this channel, please do not leave comments that you are Amber Crumb or Shannon Cheryl or any of these other missing people. That is not for the YouTube streets or social media. That is for the police. That is for the police. That is for, and I would gladly, if you want to email me your information and help you to do that, or you can simply call the agency in charge of the case and submit your DNA. It's a very simple thing that doesn't need to involve YouTube or podcasts or Facebook or anywhere. Okay. Thank you guys for being here tonight. We'll check in with the chat, and then we're going to head out and go paint the cigarette stained room. Got to do some cutting in around the ceiling. So, what am I doing? Close her out. Close her out. Got all these open tabs. Oh no, don't want another tab. Okay. So thank you guys that were here. Thank you for coming. Hey, Johnny. Hey, Mayo. Glad you're here. Oh, you brought Psychobabble with you. Good to see you, Psychobabble. Rabbit. Hey, thank you for your kind comments. And we got Frosty in the house. So we've had 3 different creators in here tonight. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. We got Johnny. We've got Frosty. We had 4 actually. And I think Rescue All the Dogs, don't you have a channel too? Jill, what's up? Always good to see you. Hey, already said hi to Rabbit. Freckle Joy, it's good to see you. I haven't seen, well, I haven't been around. I haven't been in chats very much, but it's good to see you. Professor Pug, as always. Lake, my friend. One of these days, we're going to real life get together. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed hearing the updates on these cases, and I'm going to keep chugging through it. There is some stuff I could cover on my other my other reason why I'm on YouTube was Greeno and people like him. I'll tell you what, like I'll probably just upload them. Like someone sent me like short video. I haven't watched anything of him in a while, but like I get sent a lot of stuff on him, and I do try to watch that just to keep an eye on him. Got bets going when he's gonna finally be caught somewhere for something, but he still has a arrest warrant out of Indiana, and again for just not paying child support. But someone sent me like a couple clips from like I assume it's from whatever his latest live was. That just like listening to these, they're like a minute each, and he's just so freaking vulgar. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is why it's like, do you really want someone like that talking about your murdered child? Absolutely not. So why are we as creators not wanting to protect the world from that type of a person that we know, like he's that type of a person, talking to a murder victim's family that are unbeknownst, like, oh, but gosh, you're just like, oh my gosh, you're talking about Abby and Libby, and then all of a sudden you're off on a tangent about impregnating two other creators. And then like, yeah, but I wouldn't pay child support to them either. But yeah, I would, like that is so inappropriate. Like, but that's Greeno, and everybody gives him a pass. Like that is such vulgar, nasty, the insinuation, like just all of it. Like I don't care who it's the unsolved, what's that podcast? It's not Unhinged. There's like that's the like spoof channel, but I can't think of their podcast. But they're pretty girls, like that's his go-to though, like it's just disgusting. Like girls are either, all he thinks about is like what, but to think that that is appropriate to bring up in a live stream about murder victims is beyond disgusting, and it's not appropriate at all. But with Greeno, everybody just loves the guy. And then the other clip was like, had something to do with Delphi, and I was just like, good night. Just the audacity of this dude. You're just like, what the hell is going on?
Name is, so those kind of people.
I've already the horrors thing. You guys all heard that. Like that's what he was talking to me on that one. What I know that someone just sent me 2 clips of this, and now I'm like, where are they? I don't know. It's so weird. What the heck? Let me check one more place. I literally just listened to him. I don't know. And there's so many people that send me stuff on Greeno that it's like I'll have to, really dig around. And then where? Messenger, phone, email. I don't know. But I just listened to him last night and I was just like utterly disgusted. And now I can't find them. That's weird. Oh, wait. Oh, you're there.
Dude, they're still bitching. They're still bitching about him. Oh, we want him moved. They're still bitching. Not just the unraveling. Dude, the unraveling. I mean, come on now. Dude, we could have had like a whole bunch of kids together. You know, I could have had a whole bunch of kids with both of those chicks from Unraveling. Okay? That
What does that have to do with
they probably would have paid for, but still, dude, what is your guys' issue? They're like, fire good. The judge ain't got shit to do with the dude moving. Freak, man. I mean, are you kidding me? There's nothing. Yeah, I know. It's stuck. It's not going to fix. It's the internet signal.
He's just horrible. So gross. This was the one that I forgot.
I know that when I've been arrested and I've been put in jail, I'm guilty. Okay. Typically, one time I was not. All right. But they didn't just grab the random dude from CBS who's never done shit wrong and say, we're going to pin it on some guy. And if they did do that, then why isn't he standing up and screaming at the top of his lungs, the loudest and more loud shit? He feels no remorse for what he did. Soul. He thinks I have no soul, everybody. He has no soul. Carly thinks I have no soul, everybody. If this dude has no soul, he doesn't give a shit. He feels no remorse.
He doesn't even understand the depths of like what he says though, because I do think, in my opinion, like there is some psychopathy going on there. Like, so he doesn't get it that like when he tries to be funny, it's not appropriate. Like it's so vulgar, like not taken. You know what I mean? Like just like, but. Really probably think, like he thinks he's comparing him to a soulless murderer, like, and he's just like letting you know that. And yeah, that's or how he's guilty. He pled guilty on all of his charges. Like now he's saying there's only one. So think back to when he was talking and really pushing that with Flora and how like he's wrongfully arrested everywhere. He was wrongfully arrested in Martinsville twice, Carroll County every other year, Georgia, freaking South Carolina, North Dakota, all the places, Arkansas or somewhere like that one. I mean, just everywhere, he's wrong. It's all corrupt, just all of these different states together in Michigan, they've all just conspired to take Garrido down. But when it's convenient for him, he tells you that he was guilty of those things. And then when it's not convenient, when it's better fitted that he's the victim of the system, as in injustice and like, corruption, he's going to be, he was set up on multiple of those he's said in the past. I mean, he put out a whole series on how his arrest and he wrongfully pled guilty to threatening to murder a whole, freaking EMS, and Martinsville's not that big, but Bailey wasn't there. He's in Mooresville and had nothing to do with the arrest reports on Greedo, but that's what he monopolized on, and then doctored stuff to make it look like he was let out because of false reporting by Mark Bailey, where I think his name was Mark Bailey, but when in all actuality, Mark Bailey had nothing to do. He was in Mooresville, not Martinsville, for one, and he had nothing to do with the reports that I showed you on my channel, the actual documents. Like nowhere on them Mark Bailey is said from the court, not from me, from the court. So he just monopolizes on things and gets you to believe, and that's why someone like him is very dangerous, especially in this community. So Johnny's got a question. Can someone tell me how the families hired these YouTubers to cover the case? Then the families say they never did hire them. Actually hire a YouTuber, like spend money on a YouTuber, like give your, I guess I would have to know like who, but yeah, like that, to say that you were hired by a family to be on your YouTube channel when you were not, that's atrocious. I can't even imagine like even accepting money from a family to talk about their case, because we're just YouTubers. Like we're not going to be out actually. So we could raise awareness and like help find resources and crowdsource and things like that. But like, you know, a lot of people don't know their role in life anymore. So, but yeah, I don't know. You can give me some more details, but that sounds very icky. There's a lot of people that that are out there in this world, and I try not to be jaded and automatically negative, like thinking that all people are like this. It's just in this genre you see it, and it always just, it never ceases to still surprise me. You know, like just a real oxymoron of a feeling of just like surprisingly not surprised. You know, it's like at the depravity of people that would just the vultures of this genre of just there's so many families, and they're literally like Olivia Fowler, you know, we'll get to that one. Just like her aunt, who, you know, was more her mom than anything else, and just desperately trying to get anyone, you know, to like raise awareness, because she understands that, you know, we all may just be a small voice, but when we work together, we can be a big voice for change. And she gets that. And in that though, because you're just desperate, you just are constantly reaching out, constantly trying to get people to show interest, to do interviews, to because you know that does affect things that it shouldn't. It shouldn't affect investigating agencies or a prosecutor's office, but it damn sure does. And we all know it. And it's just an open secret. It is what it is. And for someone to take advantage of someone that is desperate like that to get their story out there, and you see it all the time of like, yeah, I'll, you know, and then they just go and do the dirtiest stuff, like with like prime example, freaking Greedo with the Flora case, where he put a fake 911 call of a little girl calling 911 in his Flora video. And it wasn't related to the Flora case at all. Like he added it in there. It should, you know, he should have just been like, my bad. You know, that was kind of icky. You know, it's not her. It was just something I found on YouTube of a little girl calling 911. But no, not Greeno. He doubled down when someone said that's fake. That's not her. He said, well, I just trusted that the family of the Flora 4, Kiana, Cariel, Kione, and Kiara are their names. That is their names. They are not the Flora 4. I'm even doing it right now. But those fruits, for beautiful little girls, for you to do that, and then blame the family for sending you this 911 clip when that family didn't even talk to you, mother forker. So you definitely they didn't send you this 911 clip, this fake 911 clip, but that's Greeno in pure Greeno fashion. And that's the kind of shit I'm talking about in true crime, of like, trying to put out a video about Anna, like just a sicko. But it's just disturbing because I can't imagine, even that incident with Zab girl, like, or the Zax, Yats, like whatever her channel was. I don't know, like to do those kind of things, to put to send out FOIAs, or if it's state, it's called a freedom, like, so you got the Freedom of Information Act, which is a federal thing, and then you have public asset access statutes for Indiana, anyways, a state access. And so to like get autopsy photos or exhibits in a tried case such as Ashley Garth, and then still wait, like, it's just to show those. I don't care if you put a box on that, like, because you want to show that there's two types of tape. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, oh, but I put a box over her box. Like, no. Not like, especially when you're the one that's literally the one that's making it public. You are the first link in the public access to now crime scene photos. We all know those cases where the photos are out there. They're on websites. They've been on like the West Memphis 3. I'm not going to show them on my channel, but like you can find many crime scene photos that are just horrible. Now we've got that with the Delphi case. It's just awful. But like, to be that YouTuber that like requests that type of information, like Yats, Case Gullible, and Zab Girl, and then like put it behind a paywall like the two did, or put it on your channel, period, for views and money, like, absolutely not. Like, ugh, stop. Like, if the family never hired anyone on YouTube for anything. Yeah, what family though? Like, I'm so confused. I've been gone for a minute. I don't know what case we're talking about. I'm assuming Delphi, but who's saying that they were hired? Who hired some YouTuber? Like, send it to me in Messenger if you're not comfortable online. They all lied. That's how some of them controlled the case, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right, Johnny. Yeah. But hi, Crimezilla. How are you? Good to see you. All right, guys. Well, I'm done. I am gonna head out and see you in a couple weeks for some more of this, a look back. All right, have a good night. Make sure you hit